Hello everyone and welcome back to Animation Pilgrimage, where we watch every single theatrically released animated film in chronological order. I'm Sean.
And I'm Tennille.
And today we are bringing you the last movie that we're going to be talking about in the first half of this decade, because we're splitting this decade in two pieces because there's a lot of movies.
Yeah, and we knew going forward in Animation Pilgrimage that we would have to start breaking up the decades into smaller and smaller chunks. So that we could then do like a retrospective of the time period.
Yeah, it's probably going to get to the point where next decade we might have to split it into 3 parts. And the decade after that will just be every year or something like that, because we're getting to the point where there's going to be too many movies every year.
I don't want to get to a retrospective point and we have like 50 movies to remember and try and categorize our feelings about. That's just way too much.
That's too many movies.
So yeah, Weston Soda is going to be our last one here for this half of the decade.
Yes.
Which is going to be ending here with 1965. And then we're going to do an episode on the shorts
of all of this decade.
Yeah, and then we're going to do an episode about our retrospective for the first half of the decade. And then we'll jump right back into 1966. And we'll go until we hit 1969.
Yeah. All right, so
Weston Soda.
Weston Soda, our first Italian animated film.
No, our second.
Our second?
The Rose of Baghdad. The Singing Princess.
Oh.
However, if you are just new to Animation Pilgrimage, this will be the first Italian animated film because our review of The Singing Princess got copyright claimed and taken down. So it is no longer on YouTube.
Alright.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I guess.
I mean, that movie was lukewarm at best.
Yeah. But still, this is the second Italian animated film. We have watched The Singing Princess. There was a review of it back in the day, but that's gone now.
I mean,
we still have the file, but I don't want to put it back up on YouTube and get another copyright claim if it's just going to be the same old song and dance.
I mean, we could edit it a bit.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Sure.
We're not talking about that right now. We're talking about Weston Soda. This is a spaghetti western in every sense of the word because I guess I don't have a lot of information about this. I don't have a lot of knowledge about westerns to begin with, but I do know that for some reason a lot of them were shot, edited, and filmed, all of that stuff, in Italy, probably because it was a lot cheaper to do it there than it was in the United States for some reason or another.
That would be my guess too, because I know that filming, just essentially because we have unions and stuff over here now, it's a lot cheaper to go film in other countries.
Yeah.
And you can get probably certain tax breaks at the time.
And westerns are really popular right now in the 60s. It's space or westerns. That's your movie genres right now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's other stuff in there too, but those are the two things. We have superheroes now. That was the thing then. So this is our second animated cowboy movie. And this
one's so much better than the last one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Last one was The Man from Buttonwillow. Made in America, looks like it, and is a pile of bad garbage.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
This one also has the added bonus of being a comedy. And
yes, this is a parody of westerns.
Yeah, it's not even just a straight western, it's a parody of westerns, and it's just totally okay making fun of itself.
Yeah, I mean, it has all the western cliches. You got the stranger who rides into town. You got the greedy landlord guy who's trying to buy up all the land. You got the damsel in distress who owns this plot of land the bad guy wants and is also trying to seduce her.
The bad guy won't fight for some arbitrary reason.
Good guy.
Oh, the good guy won't fight for some arbitrary reason until the end of the movie.
Where he, reveals his tragic backstory.
And he's like the best gunman ever and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's got all of it.
And we basically just gave a summary of the movie right there.
Yeah, it's like the bad guy.
It is a Western, and it is a parody, and it's really good.
Mm-hmm. Bad guy wants to buy up all the land, so he owns it all. There's a damsel who owns the best plot of land on the entire area. Mm-hmm. So she's constantly harassed by the two lackeys of the bad guy.
I really like the animation on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hero rides into town
Johnny
rides in an hour into the movie, maybe 30, 45 minutes. It's quite a while before he shows up. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, I won't fight or shoot anybody because I shot my best friend in the past, which turned out to also be his therapist.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's like, I have issues and I can't shoot anybody. You should talk to someone. I did once, and then I shot him.
Yeah. Oh, this movie's really funny. It's got great visual gags, sound effect gags.
And I'm assuming
good jokes from poking fun at Westerns in general.
Yeah, it's I'm sure there's a lot of wordplay jokes as well, but we don't understand Italian, so we're only going off of the subtitles, which I'm gonna say weren't great on this movie.
Yeah, we really had to concentrate
on the words it was saying and translate, because it's a direct translation of Italian, and it's not always spelled correct, and then you have to figure out what they're actually trying to say.
Yeah, it's kind of as if they put the Italian script into Google Translate and then just said, okay.
And then had someone type that up.
Yeah.
And put it in here because there's spelling errors.
Yeah.
Constant spelling errors.
Yeah, so not the best subbed content in the world, but
I'm assuming because this is an official DVD that we got that was made in Italy. I'm assuming they had Italian people who didn't necessarily know English super well doing the translation, which is probably why it didn't come out perfect. But
yeah.
I mean, it's still
that being
said,
great. The subtitles on the interviews that were on the DVD, I think were much better.
That's super interesting.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I don't know if they had a different translating team working on the interviews and they just happened to do a better job. I don't know. I'm not sure. But yeah, we did. We picked up an official DVD of this. We actually bought
a region-free DVD player just to watch this movie because this movie is region-locked for Italy, and I don't know if there's other countries around it.
It's Region 2.
Region 2. So any of our European viewers will probably have a better idea of what all that actually encompasses. Mm-hmm. But we have a region-free DVD player now so that we can watch anything we get from across the world. As long as it has subtitles.
I already know of 2 other films we're going to have to buy
this
that we
decade.
Needed. Mm-hmm. Well, not for this decade specifically, but that we'll need the region-free DVD player for. So that's why we picked it up.
Mm-hmm. And because it is region-locked, hopefully you're seeing video here. I guess this is kind of breaking the meta of the episode, but we're
not sure if we're going to be able to show you guys any video footage or not. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's we're going to see if we can rip the video from the DVD, but we just don't know.
Yeah. If we can't, sorry. It's a really pretty film. Mm-hmm. I'm sure if we can't put any
actual footage, we'll be putting stills for sure.
We'll be putting stills up, and I might even leave a link to some kind of trailer if I can find that to the movie, because this has got a really interesting art direction to it, and the animation's very limited, but this is a film that really makes good use of the limited animation.
It's they realized going into this movie they didn't have a lot of animation budget and they didn't necessarily know how to animate as far as I saw.
Yeah, you kind of saw me watching the behind the scenes on the DVD. Going into some of the history of this film, yeah, it really seemed like the people working on this were
really new.
Just kind of throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what would stick. And
I'm impressed.
I gotta hand it to them. Like, it worked out phenomenally, because
I'm impressed with this movie.
Yeah, this movie feels very coherent and flows very well. I'm especially impressed with, like, the special effects they pulled off. And when they were talking about the special effects in the behind the scenes, they were saying that they reshot the film multiple times, just trying new things and, like, trying different things out to see if they could get these special effects to work. And, like, some of them, they said they would reshoot certain scenes, like, 4, 5, 6 times. And I'm like, but also, that's the benefit of doing this limited animation. It makes reshooting something this
doesn't take as long.
Not as awful. So I thought that was really interesting.
That's super neat. I guess we never finished the plot synopsis.
Go ahead.
Either way, the lady has her house burned down, and then she's kidnapped, and the Johnny is like, all right, I'll fight now. And then he suits up and all in black, and he goes out and he shoots everybody up. Interestingly enough, he takes down the leader first, and then he goes back to town, and then he has the standoff with the two henchmen.
Lackeys, yeah.
So it's like, in a lot of American films at least,
you save the big bad for last.
For last, yeah. You take down all the lackeys, and you work your way up. Not so in this movie, but that might also just be because of, like, restructuring of the film, or who knows.
I don't know,
but it's super enjoyable, and there's a lot of people that die in this movie. Oh
yeah, I would definitely say this isn't aimed for the typical audience of animated films at the time. Like, I think this is definitely aimed for people who enjoy Westerns and people who are sick and tired of Westerns.
Yes. So, this is more of, like, is definitely an adult movie.
Like, there's nothing in it that kids couldn't see.
That's true, yeah.
But,
like, there's no actual physical violence to anyone.
Right, but you're going to get the most enjoyment out of this if you understand the context in which the film is made. So, like, if you're up to date with culture. So, like, teenagers and, young people, and even then slightly older people would be the probably main demographic for this. I don't know. This was a lot of fun. I will say, like, probably the biggest flaw I had with the film, other than our subtitles being a little subpar, is it is dated.
It takes a.
It's got some jokes that just don't land anymore.
No.
And some, like, sexist stuff and a few racist jokes. But I think
the worst part is the Jewish jokes.
I don't remember those.
There are 2 Jewish characters in this movie who are literally there just to upsell people on their funerals.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're literally going after people that just died to get all of their money.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And so, like, when Johnny is chasing the villain across, like, all the, like, mountain ranges and stuff, right behind them is the 2 Jewish guys with their own caravan with, like, a whole wedding procession and stuff. And it's like...
You mean funeral procession?
Funeral procession and stuff. And it's like, okay. It's like, this movie even has, like, Native Americans in it, and I was wondering if that was going to be a bit offensive, but I think they're, for the most part, fine.
They do have a part where a Native American, like, just comes up and grabs a white lady and
runs off with her. And it's like, okay, that's not okay.
Like I said, like, it's got some dated humor to it, but I think enough of the jokes aren't centered around that, and they aren't jokes that are specifically hateful.
No.
Like these aren't jokes that have a whole lot of malice behind them. They're just dated jokes.
It's like, let's make a joke here. How about this? Yeah, sounds good. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like they just kind of threw things at the wall, like you were saying. Mm-hmm. So there's just a lot of jokes in here. Do they all hit? No. Do a lot of them still work? Yes.
Yes. It's still a really funny movie. And it even the slow parts of the film don't drag because they've still got that humor to them. There was a part we were talking about where he shot his friend who was his therapist, and that's like a slow
Like that's
scene.
the dramatic him revealing his backstory to the love interest scene.
Yeah, and they're
he's
like
still
just sitting on the porch and talking to each other. But there's still a lot of great like visual gags, and yet there's also a lot of like charm and familiarity between the characters that's really nice.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's a constant ongoing joke in this movie that I honestly am quite a big fan of.
Okay.
There's, of course, a stagecoach, which is constantly being chased by a whole crowd of Native Americans, which is then being chased by a group of, like, U.S. military.
Yeah.
And they're just, like, they're constantly flying through town or, like, through someone's house.
The movie starts, like, by showing that off, and then, like...
They just keep coming back.
Yeah.
Like, the bad guy's monologuing in his house by himself, and then suddenly, crash through the wall. They, like, fly through there, and like, the characters are just, like, the main characters in the movie will just, like, yell at them and then get back to what they were doing.
Right.
Like, it's just kind of a thing. It's like, oh, I didn't know Stagecoach season was right now, or something like that.
Yeah.
And, like, I think something else that was honestly a little raunchy. One of them screams, "Exhibitionists!" So it's like, okay, that's funny.
That was pretty good. I also really like the whole setup in the opening credits where you've got the cowboy who's shooting at the Native Americans, and you can't see the Native Americans, but like he's just like shooting
Lifts
off
his arm
screen.
and shoots, and then he gets hit with an arrow.
Yeah, like as soon as he shoots, he'll get hit with an arrow, and then he like shoots again, and he'll get hit with another one,
and
or
like,
2, or 5.
Like by the end, he barely lifts his arm, and he's like shot by like 5 arrows.
The timing on all of that is so good.
And it's just the opening credits.
Yeah.
It's so good. And like at one point, he turns around and like immediately gets railed by that many more arrows on the opposite side of his body.
Yeah. Yeah, that joke starting, like, just going into the movie,
like,
and then...
gives you a good idea of what this movie's gonna be.
Right, and then the gag... Like, these are 2 jokes just right away at the opening that I really loved. Is, another one is there's a, like, blacksmith, and there's, like, a whole line
of horses. And he's, like, there... putting on their
horseshoes, and he's like flipping the horses upside down to like
as though he's like working on a car or something.
Yeah.
And just a whole line for the mechanic and stuff. It's like, that's good. That's amusing.
And the whole movie's just filled with these kinds of gags. It's really great. And like I said, the art direction's really spectacular considering it seems like most everybody who worked on this wasn't an animator.
They were illustrators.
Yeah, or cartoonists.
Are cartoonists to begin with, so they didn't really work in motion before this movie.
Yeah, and then they had like one animator.
Who was like probably trying to get them to like, no, you gotta do this.
Yeah, but they would give him the scenes like Johnny and Clementine on the porch. The slower scenes and stuff like that, which I love hearing about like directors who really take that into consideration, you know, picking specific scenes for certain people based on their strengths as artists.
That's good, because I know Walt Disney himself did that quite a bit when he was in charge. And I'm sure the people that he put as directorial roles on further movies would also do the same thing. And like we would hear that constantly when we were looking at the extra stuff for all the Disney movies.
Oh yeah, and I mean, and it's something that you can always like that makes a good director. It's something that always makes a good director in animation was when you have a director who understands that like what an animator's strengths are so that they can be put to specific scenes. And when you have a director who doesn't know anything about animation, that can make that whole process just a headache.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I really would recommend this film.
Oh, yeah. I would recommend it.
If you can get your hands on it.
I don't think there is any place online to find this because it seems like the company that owns it is holding on to it because they're like claiming it's like one of the first Italian animated films. Mm-hmm. Again, if you
Which
live in region,
might be another reason why we might not be able to show any clips. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you live in Region 2, you should see if you can pick up a DVD of this. Mm-hmm. If not, you could always shell out the extra money for a region-free DVD player.
Like we did. So good luck with that, I guess. Anyway, I think that's it.
That's honestly it.
Yeah.
This was a fun movie. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. So join us back here next time as we tackle the shorts from the 1960s.
Yeah.
And this will probably be our last shorts episode.
Yeah, but we'll talk more about that next week.
Mm-hmm.
See y'all then.
Bye-bye.